And so I applied the money to my salary, to my payroll, so that I didn't have to lay off my staff. Oh. So I furloughed some of my staff. And then I just adjusted my schedules and such. And then me and Richie became full-time bartenders and servers there with the help of my niece Serena. Shout out to Serena.
She's an amazing bartender.
Second year law school. Amen. So proud of her. She's been with us since day one. She's really helped us again build the brand. And so we applied it to payroll. Now, 2 months go by. 3 months go by. Mm-hmm. Now they let us do outdoor dining. Mm. I was able to put 4 tables outside. I'm paying $12,000 rent.
Wow.
I'm lucky if I'm making $200 a day.
Ooh.
Right? Nobody is going outside. Nobody's dining. Like, you weren't even ordering out delivery because you were scared you had to Lysol the whole entire damn bag. Order.
Yeah.
So we had to figure out how to pivot. So we started marketing like we were allowed to do to-go drinks. People were so tired of being home that they were looking for excuses to come out and buy a nutcracker. I mean, I had customers come into Counter Bodega buying 4 nutcrackers a day, man. I'm so sorry for those who I made alcoholics during the pandemic, but thank you for the support. And you got us through. And so we just had to adjust a little bit. And now we're not doing good. And I start trying to negotiate my rent with my landlord. And that was really a point where I started getting scared because I thought we were going to have to close. They were not willing to negotiate at all. It was, in essence, for lack of better words, fuck you, pay me. Mm. But you can't tell a kid from Brooklyn, fuck you, pay me, when her back is up against the wall. Mm. So I remember that clause I had in my lease. And I'm like, all right, well, worst comes to worst, we'll look for another spot. And we'll find another location. Now, that's the worst thing that you can do in a restaurant business. Because when you establish a foundation in a certain location, you already have your regulars, you already have your supporters. And people are fickle. Mm. Like, if they're used to walking 2 blocks to their favorite Spanish spot and you move 10 blocks away, they're not going there. Some will, some won't. You know what I mean? And then you start all over again. We were a brand new business. We couldn't afford that. I was so scared of that 6-week period again, you know, where nobody walked in the door. I wasn't fit to try that again. But again, everything happens for a reason. So my realtor checks in with me. Oh my God, how you guys doing? How you getting through this and such and such? And you know, I'm like, you know, our landlord, he's really giving us a hard time. And I don't know what we're going to do. Like, we just don't have the money to pay the rent. And so he happens to walk into the restaurant one day and I'm like, hey, Shy. Shout out to Shy. Best realtor in New York City. God bless him. Mm-hmm. And he goes, Sophie, I just happen to be walking down the block 500 feet on 7th Avenue, even a better corridor than where we were at, on the same exact block. And he goes, there's a restaurant that's twice as big that just became vacant. Would you be interested in checking it out? I was like, absolutely. So me and Richie go in and we check it out. And it's like, this is our new home.
Wow.
So I asked Shy to get in touch with the landlord or, you know, whoever it is that's showing the space. And long story short, we put in effect that 3-month clause, gave my landlord the fuck you and the peace out, and moved into our new space.
Wow.
But just to divulge a little bit about being a hustler from Brooklyn. So again, we started getting scared that we couldn't pay the rent. So we're like, what else can we do? Right, we have a 9 o'clock curfew.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to do this? Like, because it wasn't only about like having a restaurant and being able to pay payroll. This was our livelihood.
Right.
How could we pay our own rent?
Right.
You know, how could we pay our own bills? So honestly, we went underground and we created a speakeasy. And so my partner, so the way that the space was set up was like, it was a walk-in, walk-down.
Right.
So you walked in and then it was like a 10-step down. It was sub-level. And just about at the end of the stairs, my partner put these blackout curtains all the way across the facade of the restaurant. So if those curtains were closed and you walked across, we looked closed. It looked just like if all the lights were off at 9:00 in the evening. And again, nobody was walking around. There was no activity. It looked dead. And I don't know what the walls were made out of, but it was soundproof. So at 9:00, when we had to close those doors, at 10:00, if you knew us, we were still open till 7:00 in the morning.
Oh shit!
I'm talking DJs, full bar, food, and we created a safe haven for people. You had to know us. It was no strangers.
Right.
You couldn't just walk in saying, I know such and such. You had to personally know us. And we did that for about 4 months, and we probably made more money than we had ever made in the history of Count and Bodega.
Wow.
And that's what carried us over.
Wow. And cops never came?
Never.
Ever had any
Never.
The landlord?
No incidents, nothing. It was all peace and love and respect.
Risk. Right.
And that was the risk. That was the hustler mentality.
Had you not have done that, where do you think it would have?
Oh, we would have been broke. We would have gone bust. We would have had to close out. Or we would have gone in the red and we had to take out loans. Because now you had loans available to you, the government. But we were already a debt-free company. And that wasn't the business that we were trying to get in. You know, it takes typically 2 years for you to make your money back in the restaurant industry. We made it back in almost less than a year. So whatever the funding that we put into it, we made we turned it right around in less than a month. Less than a year, I'm sorry.
Right.
So, and that's what kept the momentum going. So now we move in August of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, into the new space. And we still have restrictions because we open up. And then now, I don't remember what the second wave of the COVID was. Right. But now they close us again, just as we're approaching the holidays. And we know that that's our busy season. They close us again for indoor dining. And now we can only do takeout.
And how was the takeout experience?
It was horrible. We're a Latin restaurant. People are trying to come in and have an experience. But those nutcrackers kept going. People drinking again. People drinking again.
That's amazing.
People drinking again. And then what was even more amazing now, so there started a rumor that the government was creating this program called the Restaurant Revitalization Grant Program. And it was only going to be offered to the restaurant industry. And the calculations were, it was unimaginable. And I didn't have ever this much faith in government, where whatever you made, whatever you profited in 2019, subtract whatever you made from 2020. So 2019, subtract 2020's profits, which was nothing, right? We're not open for almost the whole year. Whatever we're making is minimal. You know, we're barely, head above water. So that number, which was great, 2019 was a great year for us, minus 2020, whatever that number was. Now, at that point, we were almost $1 million company. We made nothing, maybe a couple 100,000, if that, in 2020. That if you applied for that grant and you made it in before the money ran out, you were going to get that tax-free, free money. We're talking like upwards of $300,000. So I apply. I apply on Monday. On Friday, that money was in our bank account.
Wow.
And talk about rejoicing. When that money hit my bank account, I looked at my partner and I said, we're here forever. And here we are again, 3 years later, debt-free. So, it's about doing your due diligence and not taking anything for granted. And when there's opportunities and there's resources that are there to help you, you can never take that for granted.
Right.
You have to take whatever it is that you're entitled for. You never miss a beat when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so, you know, that was the mindset that I had as a businesswoman. It was just like, I'm entitled to it. I'm going for it. And 9 times out of 10, you know, I was going to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about what you're sharing is you provided so much education and so much information and so much challenges because nobody expected what COVID was going to be.
Absolutely not.
Nobody had control over that.
You couldn't have fathomed that.
Even the government itself was trying to wrap their heads around it, trying to make all these things make sense to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
And here we are, a woman business owner starting off and pandemic hits. Big multi-billion businesses shut down during COVID.
Absolutely.
That's
not
right.
just small mom and pop shops.
Yeah, for sure.
Not just count like bodegas and not just delis and not just fucking like different like pharmacies.
Right.
People who have invested generation of wealth shut down.
Yeah.
They had to rebuild.
Yeah, the odds are always against us.
Right. So now here you are as where you started from, and now here you get through this and the risks that you guys took.
Yeah, scared money don't make no money.
Right. And the fact that you are paying attention to the resources that are out there and capitalizing on it and making sure that you apply to it is a very important, I think, perspective in the conversation, because sometimes we would turn a blind eye and think we're supposed to be spoon-fed. But if this is the industry you want to get into, this is the real deal. And I thank you for that. So now with that being said, COVID is like the black belt in martial arts. You're like a black belt expertise.
Oh, they were kicking the shit out of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You're on some like I choking niggas like
Yeah. I took a book. I took a page out of Tyson's book. You know, I was like, oh, you're gonna like, you know, karate chop me. I'm gonna bite your ear off.
Right. Exactly. And spit it
100%.
out and keep it moving. And you're gonna put that. Go sleep. So now, here you are. Where do you see Counter Bodega in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, honestly, you know, COVID made me feel like one and done. It was like a kid. It was like, damn, this kid was a fucking monster. Never having another kid.
Right.
But now with hindsight and understanding all the lessons the gifts that COVID gave us, you know, because I take everything as a lesson. You know, I got to spend a lot of time with my family. We got to travel to Florida and spend a whole month with my family, just kind of hunkered down. You know, we rented an Airbnb, and I'll never get that time back, and I'll never have that time again as a restaurateur. We're just too busy.
Right.
You know, I don't have that leisure.
Right.
As much as, you know, my staff affords me, you know, more time off as the years go by, as they become more experienced. And more savvy, and you know, they're able to really navigate certain things that happen in the restaurant business that they may not have been, you know, earlier in their careers. Now, I, you know, am more inclined to want to open up one more. You know, we thought about franchising. We've had some people approach us, some bigger companies approach us about buying us out. Buying the brand and creating a franchise, but this is my baby, and that's a hard pill to swallow when you have to give something away that you work so hard for and that you're so proud of, and then you don't have control over anymore.
Right.
So we passed on those opportunities, and right now I think my partner has ventured off into investing in other brands. He's an investor of a tequila company, first Puerto Rican owned tequila company. Shout out to Joe Cruz, our partner over there. Nice. Born and raised in New York, in Harlem, New York. An amazing entrepreneur who my partner Richie has developed a great relationship with. And Joe gave him an opportunity to invest in this tequila company, Yave. You have to check it out. They've been in Forbes twice in their first or second year, as one of the most rapid growing tequila companies in the industry. And Yeah. So, investments.
Right.
In between the idea of opening up another one. So right now we're taking our time with looking at spaces in Jersey. We've gotten a lot of requests to open up something in Montclair, which is a great area for foot traffic and restaurants. And so that's what we're thinking about. That's the next plan.
Hold on a second, man. Hold on a second. This right here. This is like some crazy, mind-blowing, absorbing energy of, like, I knew you, but I didn't know of you.
Right. And we technically have kind of grew up together.
Yes. And we grew up together, and I'm sitting here and the thing about it is that in my mind, I'm like, wait. I want to ask you a question, but then as you keep talking, I'm like, hold on a second. She's like 10 steps ahead. And I'm trying to figure out how amazing you are as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as a Latina.
Thank you.
As a person that's like inspiring so many people right now. You took us through like a time frame of like where you were from Brooklyn,
Amen,
in the neighborhood, Ocean Avenue,
BK all day,
to now becoming an entrepreneur who self-taught herself, where so many people have to go to school, right, to learn the meaning of business,
right,
to learn the meaning of how to articulate themselves when they are in front of the class to learn about business. So it goes to show that sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it doesn't take for you to go to Harvard or for you to go to Columbia University, right? Or for you to spend so much money in schooling. And when I say this wholeheartedly. You don't have to spend so much money, all right? If you want to go to school, if it's something that you want to do, I'm with it. But there's other ways to go about it. And Sophie, you are a great example of a hustler. Hustler, we can take it as kind of grimy sounding. Hustler, you're a hustler. No, it's hustling through life. And life is about that. And that is like one of the lessons that you're putting out there to everyone. And how to become business oriented. I appreciate you, son.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
And I think also to add to the hustler aspect of it, it's also redefining how to educate yourself, right? We think of the education system in this society as being taught. We're the student and you're the teacher. And I think that if we look into Sophie's story, she is a student, but she was also her own teacher. And she really took into consideration of Sophie is not someone who's going to take things just because you say that's what it is. If it's black and white to my eyes and it's not black and white to her, she's going to wonder, why do you see it that way? She's going to question it. And it's a good way to start thinking about, what are we sharing with each other, right? How can we be respectfully having a dialogue and conversation and be like, I view it this way, you view it that way. Let's talk about it. I'm not right, you're not wrong. Let's just talk about it. Let's share our perspectives. And I think that your navigation through this journey, and from what I'm hearing, is you had a lot of people that you have been introduced to. You know a lot of people, but you were very selective of who allowed to influence you.
For sure.
For the better.
Right.
For sure.
Because you know that you had this thing that you knew that your father and your mother installed in you, and you didn't know what the end story was, but you knew that it wasn't going to be just that.
I mean, yeah, well, I don't take anything for face car value. And, I live by a doctrine of, how can I help you help me? Because if I can't take care of me, I can't take care of anybody else. Right. So it's a little self-serving, but it has a domino effect, in a good way.
Right.
And, getting back to the village that I've created for myself, that just come by way of like doing unto others as you would want them to do unto
Right.
you.
Right.
And that's a basic philosophy of humanity.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the problem with the world today. There's too many kids growing up just worried about themselves, not really respecting other people before them, older than them, people with more experience than them, and how they can learn from that. And so that has helped me tremendously in my life. And I don't take anything for granted. I don't take an opportunity for granted. I don't take anything like things like this that I'm invited to for granted. I jump at these opportunities, and it's not only for me. It's to share the information.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Especially when I believe in people,
Right.
And love people, like I love you guys, and want to see you guys win.
Right.
Because when you guys blow up, and me, so humbly, having been invited as your first person that you're interviewing, and this gets big the way it will get big. I mean, I'm gonna be there in the crowd, like,
yes, son.
Sophie, there's only one disappointment. Only one.
I didn't come naked. I'm sorry. I know you asked me, that was a wild idea Erickson had. It was a little overboard. So
I was like,
this is as much skin you gonna get, papito.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn it. It's really more the goddamn screen, that counter bodega in the background, But guess what? Is the vibe that you sent off. It's that feeling, because I don't care what's in the background, to tell you the truth.
Right.
That doesn't matter.
We could green screen that in. We could green screen it in.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of the fact that you have brought a presence in this living space.
Yeah.
That I could say was monumental. Monumental in the sense of how you were raised, how you came to be who you are today, how we known each other for so many years.
Blessing.
And god damn, son, how this information is coming to y'all, because when you share information with love. Sometimes people share information and want to share information to show off. And then there are some that share information because they genuinely want to share information.
Right.
So know the difference between the two.
Right.
Those are the things that you have to look at. When you feel that vibe, when you feel like somebody's just telling you something, is because they're belittling you. When you have someone that's actually giving you information because they're sharing it from the heart, you feel that vibe. And I thank you.
Those are gems.
I thank Counter and Bodega for its existence, and we will be there.
Thank you so much.
To eat some mofongo.
Yo, if y'all vegetarians, you know what I'm saying? You never heard of a vegetarian mofongo? I was a vegetarian for a very long time till recently.
Yeah.
And I've never could conceptualize a vegetarian mofongo. Because I used to go to Knickerbocker Avenue to get mofongo with my family, just to get mofongo. And when I came to Sophie, she was like, what you want? I was like, mofongo. But she was like, vegetarian. And the chef, the juices, if I could think about it, it tasted like there was the meat. It was like what I had when I was younger. And that's something I could never forget. And then you had it.
Ooh. I had this,
and you're a foodie. You're a foodie for
shrimp,
real.
With like shrimp around it, and there was like
that garlic sauce.
It was like a steak that was like
the surf and turf mofongo.
Yeah.
Yo, so let me ask you something. What is your favorite platter from
Counter
Bodega?
I mean, I have to go with the classic. Our roasted pork, our pernil, arroz con andule, some sweet plantains on the side, some red beans. It's Thanksgiving every day at Counter Bodega. And I'm really proud of what we've been able to execute. I mean, our goal was to really provide the most authentic Puerto Rican Latin cuisine that was available in New York City. And I think we really succeeded. Our chefs are amazing. And, 9 times out of 10, our customers are going to pull us aside and say, I just want to tell you how amazing this experience was, because as soon as they put the plate down on our table, the aroma of the arroz con andule and the pernil or the chuletas or the pollo guisado or the mofongo brought me right back to my grandmother or my titi
Yep.
or my mother's kitchen.
Yep.
And that for me is
everything.
mission accomplished.
Because when my mother came, when she came for the first time,
I mean, if we're
And-
talking about critics,
my mother is very a professional critic. I don't know, criticism. I don't know, but she does
self-proclaimed.
She does it very well. But I love
Mhm.
you, Mom, because you gangster. Brah. And we
Shout
took
out to
her-
Lucy.
Luce, and her mother's name is Luce too,
And my mom's
and
name
his
is
mother's
Luz.
name is Luce.
I mean, come on. Talk
Come
about
on,
full
son.
circle.
And my mom was like, all right, what do I get? I said, Mom, get whatever you feel like getting. And she got, I think, the rice and gandules, and then she got the shrimp or whatever. And, you know, I'm with my daughter who's eating just white rice because that's what she wants to eat. I'm eating it. And my mother goes, wow. She's a woman of not many words. And she said, wow, this is really good. And I said, you have to tell that to Sophie. You have to, because she wasn't saying it just to say it.
She wouldn't have said anything if
She
she
wouldn't
didn't
have
like
said
it.
anything. She'd be
Right.
like,
Mhm.
Flaca, because she used to call you, I get that Flaca. But she's like, Sophie, you know, but she says, this was really good. Like, and I felt it from her, and I knew that she genuinely was like impressed.
Mhm.
So when our parents, our
Yeah.
grandparents are like,
When they
When
give you
the
the
next-
thumbs up,
You get the approval.
Yeah. Yes.
that's how you know you are providing the
It's
experience
official.
that you
Right.
wanted for your business.
Yeah.
And that comes a dime a dozen. And the fact that you prospered through COVID with a bigger space, and correct me, less rent than
Less
the
rent.
smaller
Less
space.
rent. yeah.
That's God's.
Amen.
That's God's
Amen.
blessings. That
Amen.
is, He knows your heart. He knows your
Mhm.
mind, and He knows where this came from. And those are the gems. Those are the blessings that we need to revisit to say, during the times that the world shifted, the earth shifted,
Mhm.
and you prospered and got even more of a square foot space and less rent money.
That's a blessing.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's a testimony.
That's not coincidence.
That's God's plan.
Absolutely.
So if that's God's plan through
Amen.
COVID, imagine God's plan through the next 10, 20 years.
I'm ready for it.
So we are blessing you. We
Thank
are
you so
cheering
much.
you up. We
Thank
are
you.
so excited that
Thank
you
you,
are
thank
the
you,
first
thank you,
one
thank
here.
you for having me. This has been a blessing, you know. And again, Counter Bodega, 216 7th Avenue.
Yes.
Come
you.
check us out. Come say hello. Even if you don't have time to eat, we're always there. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes,
Thank
this
you
was
so much. This has
awesome.
been
We
amazing.
love you, mamas.
Just press play. Just when you have an idea and you think that it can't come to fruition, here I am in full body life telling you, just press.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And it's right.
On.
All right, Sophie. So we know that Counter Bodega holds a lot of corporate events, and we know that you held some private events. So just share with us some of these exciting events you had, and who came through, and who are your support teams, and just walk us through your journey.
Yes, so we've been blessed with a lot of opportunities. I mean, some great opportunities to be on TV. We've had some amazing people walk through our doors. I mean, we're talking Mets pitcher,
Wow.
Edwin Diaz, salsa legends, Ruben Blades, who
Oof.
frequents our restaurant.
Wow.
La India, we just shot Hoy Dia on Telemundo with La
Wow.
India. We were her first pit stop before her tour. DJ Legend, DJ Enough, Hot 97.
Enough!
He had his Heavy Hitters annual
Ah,
Christmas
nice.
celebration at our location. We were covered by the Yes Network, where we had an interview for Bernie Williams, Yankees legend, superstar, interviewed by a celebrity chef, Marcus Samuelson. I mean, the list goes on and
Wow,
on.
that's
So
awesome.
it's really just been a remarkable journey.
Wow.
You know,
That's great.
over these years. And so, you know, we're looking very much forward to the next, you know,
Expanding, yeah.
the next years and the future and
Can
what's
imagine
to come.
how was that for you? Like when you started to see, you know, these individuals walk in and being in the space that you created, that's like your baby, that's your child. How was it for you thinking about it the next morning when you woke up?
I mean, you know, all you can do is be thankful. And it's very humbling.
Mm.
You know, like I said, when you open a restaurant in New York City, You're a guppy in a Shark Tank.
Mm-hmm.
And so anybody, whether it's a celebrity or whether it's just, somebody from the community walks into your restaurant, you're humbled because, people work hard for their money.
Right.
And they have a lot of options in New York City. And so when they walk through your door and bless you with their presence as a guest and support your vision, that can't be taken for granted. And so again, we're just very thankful for it.
So my last question to you is, so what is your legacy?
Oh, that's a good question. I think one of the main things that Richie and I talk about a lot is generational wealth and what we would want to leave the kids and our families. And I think Counter and Bodega is a good starting point because it is a successful business and it could be everlasting as long as we want it to. And so the legacy is what we will leave for our families and leave for what they want to do with it. But at least they'll have something that could potentially take our family names to the next level.
Amen. Love it. Woo. That was awesome. Thank you so much. That was a blessing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much again.
Amazing.
You guys are amazing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank
yes.
you.
All right.
Beautiful.
I heard Hunter say, "Mom."